One of the most important flies anglers can fish and have in their arsenal for fishing around the world are caddis patterns. And one of the most important and easiest to tie, works on very selective fish from spring creeks to rivers like the Henry's Fork in Missouri, is an X-caddis. And we invented the X-caddis about almost 45 years ago, and my wife invented it. My wife, Jackie, we had come up with a sparkle dun, and Jackie said, geez, you know, you're having a hard time coming up with a pattern that imitates caddis as well as sparkle dun does mayflies. Why not tie a shuck and a sparkly body and a deer hair wing? And we did, and we went to the Henry's Fork, and we proceeded to just slay the fish. And since then, the X-caddis has become very popular worldwide. It's really the only caddis pattern you need for fishing an adult impaired caddis that's caught in the shuck, an adult caddis. And we'll tie a pupal pattern here in a little while. Simply begin the pattern by putting your hook in the vise. This is an XC110BL by Umpqua and Tiemco. It's a barbless hook. It's a very strong hook and yet light wire. Just tie a little bit of a foundation of thread, and this is classic waxed 12-0 Semperfli tan. And this is one of the most important components of this fly, and it's a shuck. It's a pupal shuck, and this is Zelon dyed caddis. This universal color covers any kind of caddis shuck color. And the shuck color of all patterns is kind of a tannish straw color. And again, it imitates the pupal shuck. This fly, this adult pattern is caught in the pupal shuck, cannot get out. Trout recognize that as an easy meal, and they will key on only this fly, one that has that trailing shuck. Now take about 8 or 10 barbules from the pheasant tail, and this is going to form the body of this fly. In most caddis, when they emerge, they trail this color. This is the color of the pupal portion of this dry fly, and we're going to follow this with the color of the adult. I want to point out, see, we nick the hook shank, and this happens every now and then. That one fiber, don't worry about it, and you'll see what I mean in a second. It's very common to do with pheasant tail because pheasant tail by itself is fairly fragile, but pheasant tail reinforced with our working wraps. Now watch this, we're going to carry our working wraps crisscross through the body material and trim that little fiber out of the way. Now we're going to tie some Zelon dubbing. It's a little Zelon dubbing blend to imitate the color of the adult. And when a hydropsyche caddis emerges, for a very short time, perhaps just a couple of seconds, as it crawls out of the pupa to escape the shuck, will be a very strong bright amber color. Bright, almost bright orange, if you will, particularly the females. And I think this is real important to imitate on this particular pattern. So just a little bit of that dubbing going forward. Now we're going to stop just shy of the eye of the hook. And the next thing is we're going to put a deer hair wing. And this is extremely important. You want the proper deer hair. You want deer hair that's very coarse, short, and is going to flare. If you use coastal deer, for instance, it's not coarse. It's very fine, and it'll simply roll around the shank of your hook. You want coarse deer hair, fairly uniform in length. Notice how that hair is very uniform in length and short black tips. Now, a lot of people will ask, how many fibers do I need? That comes from experience. You're going to basically, after you tie half a dozen of these, you're going to just know that feels exactly how many fibers I need, how many deer hairs I need. Put them in a stacker, or sometimes you can even get the proper deer hair. You don't even need a stacker. They'll come off perfectly straight every time. Notice that, how uniform that is now. You can see the short black tips. When we pull it from the stacker, you're going to see the brown. And then finally, you're going to see the gray. And this is the hollow portion of the deer hair. Now, what I like to do is I'll pre-trim it. If you don't pre-trim it, you're going to spend several minutes sometimes trimming those butt ends of the wing once you're done. Make a couple of tight wraps. Now with your thread, wrap through those butts. Notice how that deer hair pops up. That's exactly what you want. You want it to cup the body, and I'll show you that in a minute. This is important because that creates almost like a spun deer hair head. And with this fly, sometimes I'll pull it under, just a short jerk of the tippet, and it pops right up in front of feeding fish. Fish will not refuse that. The toughest fish will come to that because it looks exactly like an emerging adult caddis. Now whip finish, and I can't stress how important it is to whip finish, because if you whip finish, you do not need head cement, which just adds more weight and it's toxic and it's all full of all kinds of nasty stuff. So try to stay away from head cement. There's your finished X-caddis. If you want to, now you can, if you want, some guys want a tighter head so they'll trim it a little bit more. I tend to like a bigger bulbous head, one that again I can pull under, causing it to go under the surface and sink and then pop up in front of a feeding fish. This is the finished X-caddis. Notice the wing cups from side to side, the body. A shuck, trailing shuck, very durable pheasant tail body, and you can see the color of the adult peeking out just under that wing, the X-caddis, pheasant tail X-caddis.